Tamarillos are a really, really prolific crop in subtropical and tropical areas. They're really easy to grow. They're a short-term tree. They don't last terribly long, but they're a really good pioneer to protect the area and to create like a food forest while you're getting the longer term trees like this carambola and this pomegranate and the macadamia. They'll all take over the space. Even if they're pruned to be quite small, they'll take over the space. But the tamarillos will hold the space and stop weeds engaging until they get big enough. This is our third pick from this area, and look how many there are still there. I'm going to make Tamarillo sauce out of this lot, and it will give me a year's supply quite easily. Tamarillo sauce. In tropical and subtropical climates where you get fruit fly, and I think fruit fly are moving further south now anyway, tamarillos are a lot easier to grow and a lot more productive than tomatoes. So whereas in temperate climates you make tomato passata, tomato sauce, in my subtropical climate I like making Tamarillo sauce. So the first stage in doing it is to blanch the tamarillos, and to do that I just cover them with boiling water and bring that to the boil just for a couple of minutes, and then they're really easy to take the skin off. At the same time I'm going to be sterilising some jars to put it in. I can sterilise them if I had a microwave. I might sterilise them in the microwave. You can sterilise them in the oven, but the poppy lids have plastic in them, so you've got to boil them. I find if you've got a pressure cooker, the easiest way is to just pressure cook them. Only takes like 10 minutes in a pressure cooker to sterilise them well enough for this, because the sauce has vinegar and salt in it, so it's pretty botulism proof. Once you've boiled them for just a couple of minutes, blanch them for a few minutes, they're easy to peel. Just tip them into a sink full of cold water so that I can handle them. And I can slip the peels off just like that. Next stage is turning the tamarillos into passata. This is my lovely antique tomato passata maker, hand cranked, lovely machine. But there's modern ones that are made with, that are electric, or use whatever you use to make passata with tomatoes. Juicers probably do it too, but it's really nice getting the pulp as well as the juice through, but letting the seeds and any hard bits come out the end. What comes out this end is dry seed. I could put that through again if I wanted to extract a bit more from it, but it's really not worth it. If you don't have a passata maker, this is what we end up with, is Tamarillo passata. It's kind of like, it's not juice, it's a bit thicker than juice. There's about 1.5 litres of it there, so about 1.5 kilos of it. Our strained mix, and the next bit we need to add vinegar. That's 3/4 cup of vinegar, about the same amount of sugar. So that's, I'm using brown sugar, but you could use any kind of sugar. I like apple cider vinegar, but you could use any kind of vinegar. And a couple of teaspoons of salt. that's the essentials. After that, we can, if you can put all kinds of flavorings in if you like. You can go the direction of cloves and cinnamon and allspice, or you can adjust it to your own taste. I like bit of basil. I'll stick that in whole as is and fish it out rather than try and chop it all up, but I could chop it up and put it in. Turmeric, I'll grate that and put it in. Ginger, I'll grate that and put it in. And some garlic, and I'll probably put in a red chili as well. I like it with a little bit of heat, but all of these are entirely optional. The essentials that you really need are the vinegar, sugar and salt, and you could just leave it like that. Kids probably like it with a little bit less complexity like that. Adults might like it a little bit more spiced up. You want a fairly heavy bottomed pot for all of this, because the sugar in the mix means that it will burn and stick to the bottom of the pot if you have a really lightweight pot. But basically all we need to do now is simmer that mix for like half an hour or so until it starts going a bit thick and jammy and saucy. Okay, last stage, or second last stage maybe, depending on how you go, is to jar it up. These are the sterilised jars that I've pressure cooked for 10 minutes. Good trick is to pressure cook a ladle, is to sterilise a ladle by cooking it in the sauce for the last 10 minutes or so of cooking up the sauce. And then I'm just going to ladle hot sauce into hot jars. If you put hot sauce into cold jars, then the jars will crack. So you need hot sauce into hot jars. Just like that. Pull it up near the top. Wipe the rim of the jar because you need to get a good seal, and then put the lid on. Okay, now this is those poppy kind of lids. So at the moment the lid's popped up. What we want it to do as it cools is suck the lid and pop it inwards. Like that, it will last in the fridge for a year or so, for ages, if it in a sealed jar in the fridge. If you want it to last even longer and on the shelf, then I'd give those a water bath again, just to bring the whole thing back up to sterilising temperature for 10 minutes or so, and then it will last on the shelf. It'll be shelf stable for a really long time.